Pow Wow, yo, yippee, yay, guys. Power number 44, and I'm super excited to be with you guys today. As always, we're going to dive into the love of the community, then talk about what's happening on SwissBorg network. And in today's content, we're talking, of course, about the market that is pumping and elections coming very soon. We're going to have some updates about the product, really some cool stuff. We're going to talk about wealth management and the fundamentals about wealth management. And of course, talk about one of the very nice initiatives that was taken, the referendum on the Borg, where you go DEX, full DEX, or CEX, the mix of the two. You're going to discover it right now today in this current Pow Wow. As you guys know, my name is Cyrus Fazel, the proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, always here to serve you. And check this out. Quite cool, huh? So I don't know if it's the last version, but it's a polo SwissBorg that I like very much. So it's here. Looks really nice. Tell me what you think about it. It's a bit large. I like more skinny, slimmy type of things, but it is cool. But before that, let's start with the question of the week. As SwissBorg is a regulation first business, will going down with the DEX route affect this position? Thank you so much for oneft.crypto. So we're not as regulation first business, we're a community first business, and to enable to offer the best products and service to our community, we have to be regulated. The DEX route actually is fine. The opposite for now. The CEXs that we were working with would have been an issue going on the long term. So the CEXs that have to be regulated through the virtual asset service provider in Europe, which is the MiCA today. The two, essentially BTC and Bitfinex, are definitely not on that list. And that would have been an issue going forward. Working with DEXs is actually a good way for us to offer essentially crypto services. Let's talk about the news. The news, it's all about essentially this economy is not doing too well. So go like Paul Tudor, go long Bitcoin and gold. There is some craziness regarding the AI meme coin routes right now with GOAT and A16Z doing these things. And there's a lot of AI agents. More and more we're talking about AI agents. It's very, very common to talk about that. So that's quite exciting. As you can know, there's more and more institutional people thinking about acquiring a big amount of Bitcoin. There's definitely Microsoft, which one of that, but there was a meeting as well with the BRICS. So, back in the day it was Brazil, Russia, India, China. Now there's many other countries, Pakistan, Iran, a lot of people. So essentially the people that are not, I would say, very popular within the NATO, I would say, friends, they have created this new counter effect economy. And these people are talking more and more about and investing more and more in mining firms. And what does that mean? It means that if you think about what they're saying is that they see the value in Bitcoin. But if you think more and more is that there's talks about creating their own stablecoin or start trading with Bitcoin, right? So China will sell something to Russia and the transaction will not happen in dollars, will not happen in Russian rubles, will not happen in yuan, it will happen in Bitcoin. So if that happens, well, Bitcoin could go to 3 million plus. Let's now talk about the markets a little bit more in depth with this. So we have definitely seen that we've been flirting more and more with the 70. We finally broke the 70 threshold today, and we did that multiple times where we played around. We did break it initially in March, but now we're breaking it strongly at 71,000. The all-time high was still 73, which was done here in March. We did flirt again with 71 as well, but I think so. It was in April or May, I think so. But here we're definitely over that line, which is really good. We crossed the 200-day moving average, which brings us into a real bull phase. We know that in the next week, we'll have a president that will be elected. It looks like regardless who it was, who was going to be, it is probably be a sign where the market's just going to be able to go in a direction. And a lot of people have been waiting for this, which I think so is what's the big narrative right now. If you look at the funding rates, which is a great way to see if people are completely bananas, they're very good. So people are still not taking a lot of leverage, which means the other side is that a lot of the spot is trading, which is good for the market. The catalyst, as you know, we talked about US regulation. There is as well a new stimulus package that will happen with the rates cuts, probably by the Fed, and they might cut, let's say, between 25 basis points and 50 basis points. So that will be happening probably in November. What is as well quite interesting to see is like more and more people with that will be investing more and more in ETFs, which will push essentially Bitcoin and most probably a little bit Ethereum, hopefully. And the last thing I think so, which is really, really exciting to think about, is the meme coin is definitely still a big play, and we're seeing it more and more. But there is some DeFi that is coming back into place, restaking on Solana. We could talk about that right after. But there's a lot of other things too that are trying to get more and more into the vibe and trying to show more fundamental projects such as SwissBorg. Long-term play, the macro, if you look at it, doesn't look great. It's just that there's no way to pay back what the dollar has been burning. And they're printing, sorry. It's just that I would say that whoever the president is, and maybe if it's Trump, probably will be able to spend less. Because at this way, how we're feeling, it looks like the spending budget is just huge, and that's not very good. The total debt of the US is just growing and growing, and probably there will be things that the market might not like it, but they will be probably less spending on the government side, which might be good. And we know that Elon Musk has been pushing that a lot. This is the Paul Tudor. As you guys know, in 2020, he was the first hedge fund guy that got into it before Michael Saylor and all that. He was really, and Paul Tudor, if you guys don't know it, he is the Warren Buffett of hedge funds. So the person that really brought into what's hedge funds, and I've been managing this for, I don't know, more than at least 30 years. And this has definitely pushed the price, which is really good. And by the way, this was when he pushed it here. I remember exactly, if you check out the Pow Wow of 4 years ago, I've talked about it. Last thing is, everyone is long Solana, but Ethereum is boring. And this is a very huge topic that I think so we should cover more in depth. It's just that Solana has been able to create a business that is great, a network that has great business potential. And, you know, just last week, again, I was with the president of Solana, and they have such a very open mindedness of how to build an infrastructure for businesses. And I think this is the big difference than Ethereum is, you know, of course, it's very decentralized and all that, but I don't know, all these L2 things, these L2s that don't communicate each other and they're pushed by VCs and all that, it's a bit weird. You know, it really is weird. You know, there's so many of these L2s that come, pop, and then have to lose all their, you know, all their inflows, right? And now, right now, you're seeing the biggest outflows are going from Ethereum to move on to Solana. So it's really almost like a calculated coup. Or it's just that people realize that, you know, Ethereum is a bit boring. They're potentially right now not having the right narrative. And even if there's just a great network, it feels like Solana is definitely the hot one. Talking about Solana, a lot of their tokens are pumping, such as Shadow, such as Ray, others doing great well. We saw the different type of Jitos doing great. So other than different protocols that are doing great. So if you want to talk about NOS, that's going to be renamed in our app because it was not as a DPIN. Now it's really focused on the DPIN, essentially how to offer CPU in a decentralized way. So if you want to be able to contribute to a network that then gives, you know, computing power to whoever needs it. This is essentially what it is. The rebranding is quite smart, and this could be a very nice play for the AI trends, you know, streaming, video games, and all that. We have some new update as well with Earn. Yes, the third season is coming right now into XBorg, going to be able to stake your XBorg tokens and earn up to 10%, which is really cool. The opening is happening this Monday. So it already happened yesterday, sorry, but it's closing essentially tomorrow. So please make sure that it is. The minimum investment is 200 XBG. There's no max limit, which is really cool. Lockup is for 30 days. So it'll be ending early December. So here is a great one because there's no risk adjusted to it, which is good. There's another way as well that you would be able to earn by restaking essentially your Solana on a protocol which is called Kairos today that we work strongly with. We believe that this is a huge narrative with Eigenlayer. There's over $3 million of reward that you guys made, and we made, by the way, because I got 10,000, which was awesome dollars of that. The interesting part is in 24 hours, there was the vault was full. So there's 26,666 SOL that was raised there. I think so there's going to be new vaults coming in. Which is very interesting here is that not only are you getting a high yield, you're essentially as well be able to potentially farm points to get their tokens. And as you know, this is something that is very big for this current cycle, that restaking, especially on Solana, is a big thing. Trick or Trade is a lovely pumpkin of the Borg. Pay attention on X for the 31st October. We're going to have a really cool thing going on. So please show your funny disguise and as well, of course, make some nice pumpkins with a Borg token. Okay, how to manage your money. And this is something that is very important. So every week or so, we're going to have something really on wealth management. And it's just tips to enable you to get to be better at this game. So it's a bit like a masterclass in a very short version. And the most important thing is to figure out who you are and where do you want to head. Because I know it seems very easy, but it's always the same thing, right? When I ask any person is, what's your purpose, right? Or what a reason you're in crypto? Do you like, the money side? Do you like the product technology side? Do you like the social side? And then we try to engage a discussion to understand who I'm talking to, right? And I think so that's the exactly type of conversation that you should set yourself. So in order to make sure that you're going to have a great experience into wealth management, you really have to understand where you want to head and what's your time horizon and all that, and how much you want to deposit and how much you essentially want to be able to earn, how much you want to be able to have as a passive income. When would you like to retire? All these questions, or do you have different financial goals that are within the short term, mid-term, or long term? These are very, very important because these are the way that will give you the discipline to buy more, to sell, take profits, to be able to take more risk or less risk based on where you're heading. So clear objectives, the first thing. And the 4 areas that define a successful journey is stability, ensuring your income is sufficient to meet your monthly expenses. That's the basic. You should never afford to lose more and invest more than you're able to lose, right? Security, that you have emergency case money that's parked somewhere, that you have the independence, being able to be really financial free, of course, and the freedom at the last is to be the best the best version of yourself. So financial future and your focus. There's 5 different ways, and raise the number 3. The first one is to track your income. Number 2 is what is your monthly expenses. The number 3 is to create an emergency fund. The number 4 is to invest for long-term growth. And number 5 is a retirement plan. And that is what you really have to do. You have to think big, start small, and be continuous, and be able to auto-invest a lot. These are things that are very, very important. What you want as well is eventually to get to be able to have passive income, which is very important, right? And be able to get to there. This is something we're bringing in the app, by the way. And you have to have goals that are on the short term and every cycle. So every cycle, I know I'm going to invest a certain amount, and I want to get out a certain amount because I will need to buy a house, buy a car, or invest into something else, whatever. I always think like that. That's way by cycles. Borg Referendum. Why? My. So who? Is it the CEX and the DEXs, or only the DEX is the future of Borg? The question was, do you agree that SwissBorg should delist the Borg token from all centralized exchanges and list exclusively on DEXs? More importantly, behind this question was to understand 2 things. Do we realize that today remaining on CEXs is not a really forward-thinking thing? It does not enable us to be financially free as the token. It enables to not really participate in what we believe the best, which is a peer-to-peer way of working together with our community. There's market makers, there's CEXs that don't behave too much well. We thought that this was the question. The second, which was very important, is to make sure we're all online about that. We held 2 different lovely referendums. If you haven't, AMAs on this referendum, one in English and one in French with Anthony. It was really cool. It was, I think, very authentic, like most of the time. I thought it was really interesting. If you haven't checked them out, please check them out right now. It's super cool. So, how did you vote? The Borg referendum, was it to take away the CEXs? People were a bit worried. Was it going to be go DEX or stay CEX? Or better than CEX? Well, the winner is yeah, Borgers vote for DEX. That is beautiful, and that means we are forward thinkers. I would say behind this decision, it was quite close. There was 55% of people that wanted to go delist from CEXs, and 45% that a little bit less that want to stay on CEXs. If you look on the total voter, is great. Almost 10,799. That's almost 11,000 people, which is great. 60,000 were for delisting, 48 that were for remaining as we were. If you look at through the communities, it's very quite nicely done. You look a little bit higher, I would say, here for the camps that are a bit higher in these camps, but overall it's pretty much the same thing, right? If you look, the green is people who wanted to delist, and the red is where the people that wanted to stay on CEXs. Pretty much the same thing across the whole population of the camps, but as well countries too. So yeah, if we were to say one Borg would be one vote, would have been the same outcome. That's a one to take in consideration. So I think that was quite cool, and I like to see how this was really uniform. It was really a decision that was from Borgers. Obviously, I wanted to take off from the CEXs. I think so. For market manipulation, for many different reasons that we talked about so many times. I think so. It's time for us really to bring this narrative and show to the world that we could finally use blockchain for its purpose with this ethos behind it as well. So Borgers vote for DEX, and that's our future. So now what does it mean in terms of what's going to happen? So in the upcoming days, we're going to be delisting most probably the Borg from different CEXs. And then for what you're going to be in the app, there's going to be no difference. It's going to be the same, essentially, you being able to trade. We're going to use Solana, though, that we were using back in the day, not necessarily for Borg only. The prices might different and will change, and but the user experience will be same. Intro to the crypto is going to happen. I'm going to be attending the one on the 11th at the Tesla store in Zurich. So it's 11th of November. It's going to be a really cool one. So please attend it if you want to make it. But as well, pour tous les francophones qui sont à Lausanne, nous avons ou à Lausanne ou en Suisse romande ou ailleurs d'ailleurs, nous allons avoir la revue qui va être un événement extraordinaire. Il n'y a plus beaucoup de billets qui restent. Mais ça va être une soirée où on va faire une fondue, puis ensuite il va y avoir le spectacle de la revue qui va être trop bien, avec des petites modifications crypto et SwissBorg, j'espère. Et je vais aussi on va faire un petit discours aussi avant ce moment-là et parler un peu de ce qu'il en est de SwissBorg, du Borg token. So for those who didn't understand that, I did it on purpose because it's all going to be in French that night, and I don't want people to come and be like, oh, I didn't understand anything. Oh, if you want to be part of the cool people in Lisbon and you want to do the SwissBorg race, it's called Tech Run. This is happening on November. It's going to be 5-10K November 10th. So if you want to make it, tell us. What is the Borg? The Q4 program. You could scan now. You could vote. As always, it's the same thing. You know how to do it. So just scan this beautiful QR code and make it happen. Borg and some data. I have some good news here. We have 222 new and upgraded premium holders. We have now 155,712 people into as holders into the app, which is great. In terms of data and app, pretty much same as last week, a little bit lower, unfortunately. But it brings us to a community in DEX, which is not a great one, fortunately. Unfortunately, it's 5.3, but thank you so much for a social media boost, probably because DEX Referendum made a lot of noise. Beautiful Borgers, again, thank you so much for the trust, for voting to delist the SwissBorg and focus really on DEX. That Borg is going to be on chain, and we're really going to, keep that value and keep that ethos with it, which is really to bring the most value to you, our dear Borg token holders. Very excited about the new possibility of earning with XBorg token, but as well with Cyrus. That's going to be very exciting with restaking on Solana, which is obviously really the big contender of Ethereum right now. 1 week from now, things are going to go quite bananas. Rather Trump or Kamala wins. It's going to be very interesting times. There definitely is a lot of sensation of a very big bull run about to happen, already happening, but a new phase of this bull run. And that SwissBorg has to position itself extremely well. The Borg token is going to have some news starting next week as well. And we're going to bring more and more some activity regarding that, and an update, of course, with the white paper. As always, be wealthy, be healthy, love our Borg and equity. Take care, guys. Much love. Bye.
Thank you for watching our weekly Pow Wow episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave a like. And if you didn't, tune in next week anyway, so that you can figure out if it's better then. Bye.